Welcome once again to the magisterial live stream for modernists. I know it's been a minute, but things come up. And apparently this first game I'm joining already in progress. Let's see what they need. Allow myself to introduce myself.
Your powers are mine! Us against the world!
I wonder why the previous guy left. They don't seem to be doing that badly.
Fantastic.
Feel free as people connect to ask questions. I don't know, if you're first connecting, you may be getting stuck by ads.
Judge, jury, executioner!
Well, we hit the checkpoint, so
More help is never bad.
there's that at least.
You kidding? I feel fantastic. You cannot hurt me.
Well, I mean, obviously you can't say 100% in terms of everything somebody says is an alien contact is X, Y, or Z. Certainly there are some mentally ill people who, you know, there's particular psychosis causing them to think there's aliens or robots or, you know, what have you. But there is a parallel if you read like late 20th century accounts of alien abduction and compare them to medieval accounts of demonic activity and demonic abduction. There's a lot of crossover between the two. Not getting a lot of heals in this group for some reason, even though we've got a couple of healers. Yeah, so I mean there is that overlap. So
You're halfway there. Keep going. He's got trouble. Watch out for the Punisher's turret.
yeah, so the question about infinite regress really is ultimately a question of is God underneath the laws of physics and mathematics, or did God create a universe in which the laws of physics and mathematics apply? Right? Because if the latter, if he created them and they could be otherwise, right, then obviously that would mean that any of those things, you can't say something is impossible based on it not following those laws, right? For the same reason that you couldn't say turning water to wine is impossible, right? Like, yeah, according to the general laws of physics, right? But God isn't bound by those, and Christ being God, not bound by those.
Vehicle reached the checkpoint.
If you're asking about the possibility of there being aliens, like living things on other planets, then yeah, obviously that's a possibility. I mean, the Orthodox Church hasn't weighed in on that one way or the other, but it's obviously possible that there's plants and animals and all kinds of things on other planets somewhere out there in the universe.
I have many faces.
Plasma?
Ranged firepower.
I'll have to look at that. Someone's aiming for us against the world! Get that vehicle moving again!
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to learn Greek, I would say learn classical Greek. Study classical Greek, and then if you want to be able to read biblical Greek, study some Hebrew. And between those two, right, like, you get what you need for biblical Greek.
Judge, jury, executioner! Benji's back, baby! All right!
You owe me one.
So, yeah, if people are getting ads dropped on them, I will state once again that I believe if you use your... oh, are there new Twitch drops? I believe if you use your Amazon Prime subscription, which is free, you can get rid of those commercials for a month without having to spend any money. See if we have any invites incoming. A person of dubious character, but I will accept his invite nonetheless. No, I mean, I don't think being a scumbag is technically a sin. I bet I've never...
Who needs four when you've got one like me?
That's all I saw. Bishop's not getting long because of politics, and then I bet Father Stephen has Nev.
Family always comes first.
Go ahead, hit me.
Even when it's Johnny.
They'll be coming in 30 seconds. Stay strong. When I see someone with powers like yours, I think, wow. I mean, how can I compare? Don't compare. You just...
The Stonehenge story is available from in a secret place on the YouTubes.
The battle starts in 5, 4,
And there it
3,
remains.
2, 1.
But if you ask around enough, somebody will send you a link to it.
We need to stop that vehicle in its tracks.
fantastic.
I'm not going to be able to dance on the grave of oh, what's his face? I've blotted him out of my mind, see, now that he's dead. Because he was cremated. James Earl Jones was cremated. Therefore, I'll never get to have my revenge. I am definitely going to see the new Superman movie. Although really, it's the new Crypto movie guest starring Superman. Some of the Justice League casting I'm a little iffy on. But I think Guy Gardner is going to be very Guy Gardner. Meaning, very unlikable like in the comics. Which is good, as far as I'm concerned.
There's still a chance to stop them!
Keep on rocking.
Be right back. Better stop that vehicle!
I missed something about Orthodox and Catholic. Something, because I got like 3 questions all at once. And that was the 3rd one.
This is real
Frankly, there would have to be a radical movement in Roman Catholicism to return to some kind of traditional Western liturgics and make it mandatory. Like, the big problems are not like the filioque and stuff, believe it or not. The big problems are, right now, are the things that go on in Roman Catholic parishes all over the world every day. Especially Sunday, but every day. In masses and things that are just, from an Orthodox perspective, completely unacceptable. So that would have to change, really, honestly. The higher level stuff we could figure out, like the bishops could sit down and work it out. But we can't be in communion with what's basically, in some cases, even low church Protestantism that's going on in a lot of Catholic parishes in the United States.
Please, we're hurt.
Properly speaking, no. I mean, I could be corny and be like, I've seen something in the sky that I didn't know what it was, but, you know, not really. I've not really seen a UFO.
Take cover. We got a sniper. I'm sure those are bad guys.
Better stop that vehicle! There's still a chance to stop them!
Keep on rocking.
Not getting a ton of heals here.
Better stop that vehicle! They hit a checkpoint! Now might be a good time to stop them. Vortex field!
The thing ain't going nowhere.
I think the idea that the fire of hell is the fire of Pentecost is just a basic confusion. The fire of Pentecost is the Holy Spirit. And hell is not the Holy Spirit. I mean, if you want to talk about, you know, the presence of God, right? Hell being in the presence of God when one is not suited for it, right? Sort of death by holiness kind of concept. I mean, you can kind of stretch it around and get there, but or the Holy Spirit and judgment, right? I mean, there's ways to flex that around, but
It's now or never. Stop them.
I wouldn't use that phrase just because I don't know. It sounds what's a good acceptable adjective for a priest to use? I don't know. Less than cool.
Feeling fantastic. Mind it. No place this beautiful should
Ready to keep on rocking.
Get ready.
Well, like I said, there are angles at which you could say that that's true. I went a long way to get that kill. No, that's a problem. Saying that the fire of hell is the love of God being resisted is just turning God into Glenn Close from Fatal Attraction. Like, that's not... That's a problematic view of God. That God is just like loving these people and hugging and squeezing them too hard, and so they're in horrible anguish. Like, that to me is way creepier than just a more traditional view.
Or villain. I'm not judging.
A lot of times when people try to skirt around stuff that they find problematic, they end up going somewhere even more problematic. Ironically.
I've seen wonders out there in the cosmos few humans will ever behold.
Like the people who want to say, like, oh well, you know, all of the stuff in the Old Testament with sex and violence and stuff, like that stuff didn't really happen, as if that solves the problem, right? But that's like saying, you know, okay, hey, I have this book, it's fiction, but it'll tell you about the God I worship, and I hand you a copy of Game of Thrones. You're gonna be like,
My ultimate goal is
dude, I'm not interested in your God. He seems creepy, right? Like, if it's fictional, it's actually kind of worse
Spider people are connected to a spider.
than if the scripture's just describing horrible things that actually happened.
My totem is a gun. Also, what's a raccoon?
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it? Protective shield. Perfect.
You're going to need Ben.
Farewell.
So, first of all, actually, it's X-Men 97. But, no, I liked the show. It's, I watched the cartoon back in the day. So, and I like the X-Men in general. So,
Anyone willing to help?
Nightcrawler is one of the cooler X-Men characters in the comics. But here's the thing, like all Chris Claremont characters, he's sort of like Captain Picard, right? He's just this weird agglomeration of character attributes that don't entirely fit together. So, like, Kurt Wagner is literally a Catholic priest, but also like a swashbuckler and like a little bit of a womanizer. And you're like, well, wait, Catholic priest / womanizer? That seems a little odd. And I agree with you. That does seem a little odd. But
You captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
He's also German. He also looks like a goblin. He has two mothers, because one's a shapeshifter. So there's that. That's a little odd. Yeah. So Chris Claremont wrote X-Men for 17 years and is responsible for really creating most of these characters. And he would just layer in all of these things. That's where you get like Wolverine, who's like a hard drinking Canadian who's into like samurai culture, but also is like animalistic, but also like you just get all these. So yeah, it's all of his characters are like that. And Chris Claremont also famously writes all of his female characters as bisexual. For some reason.
My inventions have saved worlds. But the best thing I ever built was my family.
So, what's called the Eastern Orthodox churches is actually a group of churches that are all in communion with each other. The Greek Orthodox Church is one of those. So the Greek Orthodox Church, the Russian Orthodox Church, the Bulgarian Orthodox Church, the Orthodox Church in America.
Actually, I was hoping you could offer your opinion on my
they're all individual national churches, and they're all in communion with each other. And
the battle starts in 5, 4, 3.
They're all really one church body.
All you need to do is capture the area. Got it?
I was never a Presbyterian. I was raised Dutch Reformed specifically. Well, my very early childhood, we went to a Reformed Church in America church, but most of my life my conscious life, most of my conscious life, I went to a CRC, Christian Reformed Church.
Maximum pulse!
Mission area is yours. That one hurts.
I never knew Doug Wilson personally, though some people in that circle I did know. So, Reformed or Calvinist groups are basically, generally can be divided into two sets of traditions, and they're referred to as the English Reformed or British Reformed and the Continental Reformed. So, your Scottish Presbyterians, your more Calvinist parts of the Church of England, etc., would be part of the English Reformed, whereas your Dutch Reformed, German Calvinist groups, of which there are a few, those would be part of the Continental Reformed. And the Continental Reformed generally has more influences than just strict Calvinism. Meaning the English Reformed Presbyterians are more strict Calvinists in the Genevan style, whereas there's a lot more Lutheran influence, Anabaptist and Pietist influence, and other Reformation groups that influence the Continental Reformed, including the Dutch Reformed. So, for example, the Continental Reformed churches, like the Dutch Reformed Church, are less iconoclastic. They're less. They used to have vestments of a type. I mean, nothing like Orthodox vestments, but they used to have vestments. Dutch Reformed churches had a little more. I mean, by Protestant standards, especially by Calvinist standards, they had a little more of a liturgy than the Presbyterian branch did. Those are the main differences. Basically, there was a larger, broader Reformation influence on the Continental Reformed and the Dutch Reformed. And the Presbyterians are more strict Calvinists. Yeah, public service announcement. If you have Amazon Prime, I do believe you can get rid of the ads by using your Amazon Prime subscription. Not asking people for their money, but you could use the Bezos bucks to get out of the ads.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
We are cloak and dagger. We are hope and fear.
Would be a fancy lad for this round. I guess a fancy lad and a fancy lass.
It helps me see the darkness and face it.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
All who oppose us shall fall before the might of Mjolnir.
Right. About that. You wouldn't happen to have any spare enchanted weapons, would you?
Aye. But alas, both Stormbreaker and Yarnbjorn are currently in other...
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
When will these madmen learn that reality isn't their playground?
My time to shine.
Dude, seriously? Seriously? If you're gonna ask for heals, I'm gonna need to see some peels. That's what I have to say to you.
I'm back to shed some light.
Well, that is true. At the beginning of the stream, I did not do the obligatory Christ is risen, Alma Secum, Christos Voskressi, Christos Anesti, Christus is Opgestan, et al.
Another one gone.
My time to shine.
I suppose that helps.
No, my...
They
Much
will
to
pay
prove.
for this.
Let's wait for a couple of people.
Hey! Love over here!
Life!
Nice!
Believe me, darkness.
Much better.
I was fine. Thank you.
Just embrace the light!
Feeling stronger already.
I saw links to that in my feed, but Alex O'Connor,
Embrace the light!
I've never been that impressed with.
God of
Us against the world! The only one!
I was squirreled.
I am ready to put on a show.
And see, the problem with having a debate with any atheist or skeptic about did Jesus claim to be God is that, like, what's the point? You're going to point at stuff in the Bible, they're going to say, well, Jesus didn't say that. And then, you know, that's like a permanent impasse, because how can you prove or disprove it? You know what I mean? That's... if they just want to say, nuh-uh, you know? Like... there's not a lot of places you could go with nuh-uh, uh-huh, nuh-uh, uh-huh.
Dagger's back.
The perfect hex.
I lost part of that. You were watching me on Symbolic World, where you had me on to talk about St. Paul the Pharisee. You're still thinking about something I said. Some mysterious thing.
That's what I need.
We've got to stop. Get that vehicle to its destination. Portal here.
By the eye of Agamotto!
Some uninvited guests.
I don't know the demographics of
That's better.
most converts to Orthodoxy.
Or a dagger.
I would assume, for example, that most people who come into the Orthodox Church come from some other Christian group. That I assume that's more common than, like, Buddhists, right? Or Jewish people converting. I don't know that for sure. I would just imagine.
Double KO.
Still here. Don't you put me out.
But
Get that
yeah, I don't have any accurate demographics on that. Lots of people come into the Orthodox Church.
I don't think we should keep the king waiting, do you?
Let us hope the Orish. That's better. I suppose that helps.
I got stuck.
The light always comes back.
Yeah, I know that they did that survey that somebody linked to, but there have been questions about the sample size.
Us against the world.
Not that people were lying, but, you know, just what was the sample size? That kid, therefore, if the sample size is too small, right? How firmly can you base conclusions?
I am ready to.
Okay, how is she getting a squirrel stampede like every 5 seconds? This seems insane.
Get that vehicle moving again.
Well, you know, this Rollins character has taken on yet another alias now, I hear. Now I hear he's going by Deacon Cherubim or something. And I don't know, it just seems like a lot of sketchy behavior to me. A lot of sketchiness.
Only 60 seconds left.
No, not that Rollins. I'm talking about the C-tier Father Andrew co-host.
Get ready. Here come the
Not Seth Rollins, nor Henry Rollins.
My life force is exposed.
Get that vehicle moving
By the eye of Agamotto!
Down to 30 seconds.
I am strengthened for battle.
Yeah, he has used the Architect again recently.
The light, there's no time to wait. Hit them with everything. Us against the world.
Some people refer to him as Seth Franklin Rollins.
The final 10 seconds.
You get a weapon, you get a weapon, you get a weapon!
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
Yeah, so the Book of the 12, like, I don't go back and listen to my stuff. And that's from a good 10 years ago. So I haven't listened to that since I did it, to be honest. That be the case. Yeah, I know my take on Jonah has changed.
The right heroes could make all
I know I have
the
different stuff to say about Obadiah now than I did then. But, like, that's from before I did my PhD. You know, like, I would hope I've learned some stuff since then. Otherwise, I wasted a lot of money on that PhD.
This is war.
I believe platypodus are indeed
30 seconds. Stay strong.
venomous.
You are
That is
actually here, right?
what I have heard.
Or am I imagining this?
You see a unicorn in an afro wig next to me?
No.
Then you're missing out.
My wife corrects the record.
4, 3, 2.
And here I thought the female of the species was more deadly than the male.
Securing the mission area.
This place sure makes me miss the good old USA.
Claimed by chaos.
That was a vaguely racist cap. Of course, he was in World War II, so I imagine, you know, Japan, there are issues.
The more the merrier.
I'll get you next time.
Live to fight another day.
Got trapped. I have not watched Jordan Peterson's Genesis series. To be honest, for the most part, I don't think Jordan Peterson's stuff on the Bible tells you much about the Bible. Tells you a lot about psychology, right? Especially a Jungian approach to psychology. But I don't think it tells you a lot about the actual Bible in its original context.
Leave them to Khonshu. That's 3 for me.
And to be fair, I think if I said that to his face,
Too old for this?
he'd probably agree to a certain respect. Yeah.
Goodbye.
Judge, jury, executioner! Are they ship-shaping? No.
Not just gonna let it stay?
Let's dance.
You weapon. You get a weapon. You get a weapon.
Beat battlefield medicine.
I missed a comment or question there while I was trying not to die. So all I saw there was Cyborg.
All right.
Meaning, was it a Teen Titans question? Was it a Justice League question? Oh, so a lot of people have pointed out that a man talking to a woman at a well was kind of a common courtship image in the Roman world at the time. And so, obviously, well, never mind. Biblical scholars, nothing like this is obvious. But when the fathers are talking about that, they're not talking about it literally in the sense that, like,
this era sure has a strange definition of justice.
It's more a question of just framing. You know, in this case, it's more the idea is that he's appealing to her soul, not he's attempting to literally start a kind of romantic relationship with her, but that he is trying to sort of win her soul back over to God. And so, having a man speaking to a woman at a well, because that's this sort of trope or motif in Roman romances from the period.
Sorry, soldier.
It adds that level of subtext.
I never stay down.
They've made it halfway! Stop them! Better stop that vehicle!
That's the boost I needed.
Or a dagger.
Assemble! You can always count on me, partner. Let's dance.
Step on lava. Behold that child! No, not him!
In terms of what sort of person has my bizarre assortment of knowledge, hopefully no one other than me.
Better stop that vehicle! There's still a chance to stop them!
Because I wouldn't wish my own brain on anybody. Even my worst enemy, who's currently playing Spider-Man in this group. And I say worst enemy in this case, not in the sense of arch foe, but in the sense of he's my enemy and he is the worst.
This is real firepower!
They hit a checkpoint. Now might be a good time to stop them.
Stay down.
Well, I don't know that they should have worried about that, but we see in Acts that a lot of the Jewish communities that were heavily endowed by God-fearers seem to worry that by becoming affiliated with St. Paul's movement, probably especially since St. Paul was actively taking up a collection for the Church in Jerusalem, for example, that might cut into synagogue support that they depended on from non-Jewish sources. Top 5 movies that everybody should see if they haven't. These are not my 5 favorite. These are the 5 that everyone should see. But some of them will be my favorites, just logically. So, Memento, if you haven't seen it, you need to see. They Live. One of the great 80s action movies of all time.
Only 60 seconds left.
I haven't played Captain America really since the nerf, and he is definitely nerfed in terms of survivability. Third movie everybody needs to see, if you haven't seen it, is Office Space. Fourth, Dead Zone, The Dead Zone, and fifth.
It's now or never. Stop them. The final 10 seconds.
Judge, jury, executioner!
Bring on the chaos.
Yeah, Heathers.
Powers of might.
Yeah, Heathers is fifth. I still consider myself a Mr. Fantastic main in this game, so that's my favorite hero. Favorite map? Probably my favorite map in the game is the new Krakoa map. In terms of why God spared Judah from the Assyrians and then sent them into captivity in Babylon, well, first of all, there's a big difference between what the Assyrians did to the northern kingdom and would have done to Judah versus what the Babylonians taking Judah into exile, right? So sending Judah into exile helped preserve Judah.
Be wary.
Whereas
I am not the man.
the northern kingdom was destroyed. But also, what God wanted from them the whole time was repentance. And so Judah was spared from the Assyrians because they repented. And if they had continued in repentance, right, then the Babylonian exile wouldn't have had to happen.
Metallic limb from your body.
Then I guess it's a good thing I only need one arm to take you out.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have to stop them from securing the mission area.
Wow, that was a quick kill.
Amazing luck.
My favorite occultist, real or fictional?
Those guys are about to shoot at us.
So the whole Rogue / Magneto thing, outside of Age of Apocalypse, I felt like was kind of forced to create a love triangle rather than getting so she wouldn't get together with Gambit too quickly. In Age of Apocalypse, I think it worked better. And I think they should have left it in Age of Apocalypse and then just left kind of a dangling thing of like, hey, is there also something in the regular 616? I don't know, is there? Right? Like... Like there's some comic book characters that just it becomes pointless at a certain point not to just have them like be together, right? Like Superman and Lois Lane. Like I don't blame them at all for having to get married in the comic because like yeah. So controversial opinion. I think adult women are adults and can make their own decisions. I think a lot of this age gap discourse treats like women in their 20s as if they're children. And therefore is kind of misogynist. Like, I think adult women can choose to date an older man if they want to. Right? Like... Adults are adults. Now, if you're talking about someone who's not an adult, obviously, totally different story. Like, completely different thing, right? But... yeah. Well, and they do have a basic problem with Magneto now, in that since Chris Claremont, like, sort of grounded his childhood to the Holocaust, like, dude has to be like 90 years old now, you know? And there's ways around that in the comics. For people who don't read the comics, like Magneto got turned into a baby for a while in the Savage Land. There are a lot of weird things have happened to Magneto over the years, but so Marvel or DC depends entirely on context. So like, whether we're talking about comics or other media, first of all, right? Like, we're talking about animated stuff, like DC all day, right? If we're talking about live action stuff, probably Marvel. If we're talking about comics, it depends on decade. So, like, in the 80s, Marvel, in the 90s, DC, in the 40s, DC, for sure. That's, the 60s, Marvel. 70s, both were kind of a mixed bag. 80s was clearly Marvel, 90s, DC. 2000s, probably, I would say, DC. Right now, today, current publishing stuff, I would say Marvel. DC Comics right now, the stuff that's getting published right now, is in a lot of ways similar to the movies, in that there are some really good DC Comics, but there's also a lot of just garbage. Whereas Marvel has a consistent quality that doesn't hit the kind of highs that, like, Tom King's Wonder Woman does, but also doesn't hit, like, the lows that something like the whole Absolute Power crossover hit. So, there's your complicated answer on Marvel or DC in the comics.
You're welcome.
Like, people need to go back and study mid-90s DC. Like series like Starman, Sandman Mystery Theater, Power of Shazam, Jerry Ordway. Kingdom Come came out during that period with the Alex Ross art. John Ostrander's Spectre. Some of this stuff is just getting reprinted now. Peter David's Supergirl and Young Justice. Like mid-90s, DC was just firing on all cylinders.
Kind of vulnerable.
I think I missed some questions and comments in there. Feel free to repost them while I was musing about decades of comic book publication. One really cool thing that DC has coming out right now, they started this line called DC Finest that are like $39.99. It's $40, but you get like 650 pages of comics. They've got stuff from the 40s through like the present.
My power cannot be quelled.
And I am calm.
Death is a mercy because the world is full of evil and suffering.
It's now or never.
That's what God says in Genesis 3. He says it's not good for man to live forever in this state once sin has come into the world. Right? And so God gives us life in this world with an end, but he gives it to us for repentance and then eternal life on the other side of it. And so not living in this world forever is a mercy. Christopher Nolan's Batman. Batman Begins is a really good Batman movie. Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises are really good political movies, if you understand them correctly. But they are not really Batman movies. They're using Batman, right, as the frame in which to say something political. Whereas Batman Begins is a straightforward Batman movie. It lifts whole scenes directly from like Batman Year One and stuff. Like,
Rise again.
Only 60 seconds left.
Your attacks are futile.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, he could have been Muslim Bale, Buddhist Bale. If he married a Bale worshiper, he could be Bale Bale. Good literature on why bad things happen. I mean, other than the Bible, I wrote my book God is a Man of War about really bad things that happened in the Old Testament.
Don't give them another inch, or else.
I don't know if those are the kinds of bad things you're referring to necessarily.
Watch out there!
Rebirth is a mutant's greatest gift.
Pulse charge! Fire!
Now, Hulkman!
Yeah, Bad Boys of the Apocalypse, where we talk about the four horsemen, who are moldy old Canaanite gods. Well, yeah, now we have a carceral state where you can take someone like a quote-unquote giant and imprison them for life securely and not allow them to do the horrible things, right? But a lot of history didn't have that. For example, the late Bronze Age and the early Iron Age didn't have a way to lock someone up for life. That just wasn't a functional thing. And you're also presuming that this sort of violent, excessively violent person is necessarily going to go willingly into his lifetime of incarceration and not fight back or resist, and thereby end up being killed by the authorities. But no, I'm not pro-death penalty per se. I mean, the statement by the Russian Church, I think, is good. That strictly speaking, the death penalty is just, right? But when a society gets to the point where it's able to, in mercy, abolish the death penalty, that is a good thing, right?
I think I'll just take your word on that one.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Enemy in front of us! Do not fear, little one. We will guide you. Better walk behind me. So many of them. My armor's stronger now.
So I missed the first comment or question, but the second comment question, how do you know when you're ready to be a teacher? So the Orthodox Church, you don't decide to be a teacher. You are given the role of teacher by someone who's in authority over you. So it comes down to you, and that's how you know you're ready. That someone tells you that they think you're prepared and would like you to take on that role. A bishop, you know, your priest.
I once decimated an entire species through an act of magic. I understand their hesitation better.
No, all Israel includes the Gentiles. Because the fullness of the Gentiles, we're going to get into this on Thursday, but the fullness of the Gentiles is a reference to Genesis 48 and the blessing that Jacob gives to Ephraim. Talking about how the descendants of Ephraim being the central tribe and name for the northern kingdom, is
Vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
is referring to the Ephraimites, the Israelites from the northern kingdom, were deported into Assyria and sort of blended into the nations, and so it's from the nations that they're reconstituted. So Jews, really, in Romans is talking about Judeans, which means the descendants of Judah, the faithful remnant of Judah, to which are added the Gentiles who come in to worship the God of Israel and reconstitute the 10 northern tribes. But we're going to go into that a lot more on Thursday, as well as a lot of stuff about the Samaritans, John Hyrcanus, and a lot of other stuff that they don't tell you about in Protestant Bible studies.
Do not. Look out, bad guys!
Almost there. Don't turn back now.
Interacting with that guy was unpleasant. He was he had committed repulsive acts that I will not repeat. And he gained what was very clearly a sexual kind of enjoyment from recounting the things he had done. So he was very unsettling, and talking to him was terrible.
Healing energy.
And while I was saying that, I missed a couple of things. Someone asked about the quote-unquote giant I met working in a prison, and yeah, there's one person I met who falls into that category of, like, demonic evil. That's who and what I was referring to there. But I know I missed a couple of questions there while I was answering that one. And now that I said what I said, everyone may be in stunned silence. Or you may be watching a commercial. I don't know. Use your Amazon Prime thing when you get rid of them, commercials. As I said earlier, Stonehenge Story is available through an obscure link to the YouTubes. Someone will post it for you, I'm sure. I know there are, if you get the Great Book of Needs, I know there are blessings for artists, and probably some of those things having to do with artists could repurpose for people who are artists in other senses, right? In the sense of writers or poets or those kind of things. Oh, we have no heals. That's why. Okay, well that explains a lot.
The amazing Spider-Man!
There's no match for the Sorcerer Supreme.
My turn now!
Business here.
That did the trick. We will not fail you, my little friend. You have my word.
That rocket raccoon run off. Oh, you have magic on magic violence. Russian girl fight.
Don't let anything stand in your way.
Behold, Dark Child! We will not fail you, my little friend. You have my word.
The Sorcerer Supreme returns.
Oh, perfect! Hex! Ah!
Your fate is sealed.
Maximum pulse! Don't forget. Be sure those are bad guys.
Goddess of moonlight. Come, Herbie.
So close! This is your big
You get a
chance!
weapon! You get a weapon! You get a weapon!
My friends are here!
What is this?
Only 60 seconds left.
Chat has gotten quiet. Too quiet.
Sorcerer Supreme returns.
Ad? Possibly. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this has not been my best game. But at least I'm buffing Scarlet Witch, so I can take partial credit for their accomplishments. Hard to tank, especially as Doctor Strange with no heals.
Spiders don't forget.
The Sorcerer Supreme returns.
Final 10 seconds!
Creatures of the night shall not stop us.
It's spider time! You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner. Well, you can't expect to win them all.
I have been known to play Texas Hold'em. So there's not exactly an Old Testament, like a direct Old Testament thing for binding and loosing. But that language grew up during Second Temple Judaism.
Pick your hero.
And
I'm not judging.
I will continue this answer in a second, but this is going to be my final game, so that means first character whose name I see in chat, I play that character. Okay, I'm playing Mantis. That was the one that popped up first.
Life energy is a powerful weapon against evil.
I will play Mantis. So, within Second Temple Judaism, the language of binding and loosing began to be used, and is still used today in Orthodox Judaism, to talk about the authority of rabbis to apply the commandments of the Torah. And Christ himself uses that language that way at one point. When he talks about the Pharisees binding men with burdens, that's sort of meaning they're making a strict application of the commandments, and loosing, meaning they're taking what we would call economia, would be loosening, and what we would call akraveia in the Orthodox Church, or strictness or preciseness, would be what they would call binding.
Even on the screen, he radiates a terrible evil.
So that authority to bind and to loose given to the apostles is essentially setting up a Christian chain of authority handed down by the laying on of hands, which is how rabbinical authority was handed down, which became what we call apostolic succession.
Life energy brings me back.
Yeah, so
You don't have to fight alone.
the problem comes with trying to pin down doctrine. What the fathers are doing primarily, and this is a related question, are primarily not opining about some kind of objective system of theology. What they're doing is they're applying the tradition they've received. Centrally the scriptures, but then also everything else that they've received in Holy Tradition to the people and situations of their day, right? Yeah, that application, then sometimes the way something applies in one situation looks very different than the way the same principle applies in another situation, right? And there's a wisdom in knowing how to do that. I mean, that's why you get, for example, in the book of Proverbs, it says both to answer a fool according to his folly and to not answer a fool according to his folly. It's like, well, which is it? The idea is if you have wisdom, you know which is which, right?
Nothing here.
Our enemies are here. Let me guess. Your nameless friends?
Your devotion to name good medicine.
My life energy grows stronger. Better watch your back.
And that's why we have the whole system of hierarchy and spiritual fatherhood in the Orthodox Church, is that we often don't know what's best for ourselves or the best way to apply things to ourselves. So having someone else to apply those things to ourselves, who has the authority and is recognized as having the wisdom to do that, is a great help to us. There's another question that popped up that I missed while I was answering that one. So feel free to repost it here. I'm pretty sure not. Gandalf technically is an angel. I'm the wrong guy to ask about the deep Tolkien lore. That's the other guy on the podcast. But he's technically kind of an angel.
But books and tea will teach you how to cope with it. They worked for me.
Well,
The battle starts in 5.
Hosea married a prostitute.
3, 2,
And prostitution
all you need to do is capture the mission area.
was essentially a kind of slavery. So, not to put too fine a point on it, but he had to pay her pimp. Essentially. He had to buy her out of prostitution.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now. The mission area is yours.
Friends! Shields up! I am healed.
You get a weapon! You get a weapon! You get a weapon!
You needed some help, didn't you? Let me help.
I am strengthened.
You need to teach me that.
We are undefeatable!
An extra force field? Great! Feeling stronger already. A little help, please. No more screams. Let me help. Who is scream now, Steven?
You've captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
These squids reek of desperation anymore.
It's looking like
I need assistance.
this final game may not last too much longer, so last call for questions. Feel free if I didn't answer one. That doesn't mean I didn't intend to answer it. That probably means I missed it, so feel free to re-ask. Do I get something in before?
The area is almost yours.
Now I see them.
Yeah, well, yeah, essentially that's or he married her, right, and made her his wife because he wasn't intending to make her his prostitute. Right? He didn't want to buy her and have her be, you know, his prostitute instead of someone else's.
Put some pep in my step.
Right? He married her, but then he had to Sort of like True Romance. It's probably the only time True Romance and Hosea have been compared. There will probably not... I am not good at the last couple of Doom games. I might try the new one. Favorite fictional occultist is probably Herbert West. I just never got into Among Us. But a Doom stream is not impossible if I fiddle around with... My wife's been playing it. If I fiddle around with the new Doom Dark Age and I kind of like it, I might. Who knows? It might happen. So, I am dropping out of this match. Because as I said, that last game was my last game. Thanks for making me take a penalty.
Or villain. I'm not judging.
My parishioners, see? This is how they treat me. Favorite real-life occultist is John D. See, you thought I was gonna say Crowley, but no. John D. Way cooler. Less of a sex weirdo and sex pest. Yeah, this is it. Thanks for joining the magisterial live stream for modernists. And yeah, feel free to call into the show on Thursday. I may stream after the show on Thursday. I may stream Tuesday night. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But you'll get a notification if you have notifications on. Thank you, everybody. Christ is risen.